You're listening to the B&H Photography Podcast. For over 40 years, B&H has been the professional source for photography, video, audio, and more. For your favorite gear, news, and reviews, visit us at bnh.com or download the B&H app to your iPhone or Android device. Now here's your host, Alan Weitz.
Greetings and welcome to the B&H Photography Podcast. Today's show is all about new gear announced recently at last month's CES, that's the Consumer Electronics Show, and a show that's in progress as I speak, WPPI, that's the West Philadelphia Philatelic Conference. Oh, wait a minute, that's stamp collectors. No, it's the Wedding and Portrait Photography Show in Las Vegas. That makes more sense. Couldn't help it. To better ensure we have the latest news and views of this year's WPPI, we're going to be Skyping in the second half of this show with our boots-on-the-ground correspondents, Shawn, Steiner, and Liz Groeschen, to hear their thoughts on all of the new gear at the show. Just a reminder, if you are not a subscriber to our show, how come? It's easy and it won't cost you a dime. We have over 100 past episodes online you can listen to, and to become a subscriber, all you have to do is head on over to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify, and in no time you can be a card-carrying B&H podcast listener. Speaking of podcast listeners, if you enjoyed our show with celebrity photographer Chris Buck, we have a signed copy of his amazing book, Uneasy. To win, all you have to do is head over to the B&H Photo Video Facebook page and leave a comment on the post about our show. You have until midnight on Friday, March 2nd. That's 2 days from now. One winner will be announced on an upcoming episode. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Actually, it's a great book, and if you get a chance, go back to last week's episode also and listen to our interview with Chris Buck. It was really informative, very, as he said, frank answers to frank questions.
Yes, so he's great. The book, it's like, close to 400 pages?
Yeah.
And it's got everybody in it and photography that'll really make you stop and pause.
Yeah, and just leave a comment on the Facebook post, and you're entered to win the book.
And there you have it. Anyway, on with our show. Let's have a little review of last month's CES show. And between CES and WPPI, there's a whole bunch of new gear that's released for the new year. And let's start off with some cameras that were recently announced. The Panasonic Lumix GH5S. That's a video-centric mirrorless camera, 10-megapixel multi-aspect sensor. Video people are pretty excited about this guy.
It's the update to the GH5, which is already a really hot video camera. And the S stands for...
Special.
No, it's actually, it improves low light performance and...
again, it's a 10 megapixel, so there's larger
pixels.
Larger photons going on there. This camera is very specifically for video shooters, and it's kind of comparable. It's a 4/3 version of the Sony A7S, which again has fewer megapixels, but they're larger, so it's much better for light gathering, low light shooting. Video people love them. Another camera is a blast from the past, the Polaroid One-Step 2 camera. I don't know why they didn't call it the Polaroid 2-step. That would be kind of fun. It's basically a rehash of the 1977 Polaroid One-Step. It uses the new Polaroid formula films, 60-day rechargeable batteries included. It has longer processing times, but improved color. Lens-wise, Nikon announced the AFS 180 to 400 millimeter f4e. That is their super zoom that has a built-in 1.4x teleconverter. So you, at a flip of a wrist, literally, you go from 180 to 400 millimeter f4 to a 252 to 560 millimeter f5.6 lens. Without having to change lenses. I used the Canon version of this about 2 years ago when it came out, and it's an amazing lens. I'm looking forward to giving this one a test drive as well. It's a great thing to have, especially for long-distance shooting. Nothing comes near it. We have one other little special toy here, which I think everybody will want to have. That's the Insta360 VR. That's an 8-lens VR camera for fully spherical 3D video at upwards of 10K resolution. This thing sees everything around you and plays it back again, 3D, 360 VR, and it only sets you back about $12,000. Operators are standing by. We spoke a little bit about this on a recent podcast, and it is apparently a pretty incredible piece of gear.
Some new drones came out.
New drones. Unique has a bunch of new ones here. The Typhoon H Plus is a second-generation drone, has 6 rotors. It's 40% quieter than the last model. It has a 20-megapixel 1-inch sensor. That's the Sony sensor. Shoots 4K at 60 frames per second. It has improved low-light sensitivity and updated anti-collision technologies. Next up is the unique HD Racer. This is a smaller competition drone. It has 4 rotors, records 1080p video, relays low latency video to a live feed at 60 frames per second. It has built-in protected blades. You don't have to replace them, and an integrated flip-over feature that rights the drone if it lands upside down in a crash. Now, they also make one drone, which I'm actually kind of excited about. It's the unique Firebird FPV. This is a fixed-wing drone. It's an airplane. It's got a single rotor in the rear, and it shoots 4K video up front. It includes FPV, that's first-person view headset, has built-in geofencing, automated return and landing functions, and 30 minutes of flight time. It's like a small plane. It's white. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, those are cool.
I'm interested in that one. That's going to be out in a few months.
Okay. And these are all things that were announced about a month ago.
These were all announced last month at CES. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned up front, WPPI is happening right now. And we have Shawn Steiner on the line. He is at WPPI in Las Vegas. And he's been prowling the floor, and he has some news for us about some of the new toys that are being released yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We've been following everything here in New York, and they've been teasing us about a big Sony announcement. What could you tell us?
Sony came with a big surprise because last week they announced a new flash and everybody thought that was it. But as we found out Monday afternoon, they had a whole event lined up for the release of the A7 Mark III.
So that's it? Okay, it's true. All right, tell us about it.
The A7 III, it's a really nice upgrade from the A7 II. It brings a lot of the benefits of both the A9 and the A7R III, but it has a nice balance that you don't really get with either of those cameras. And it comes in at a lower price point.
Now, when you say balance, specifically what do you mean? Because that is an interesting camera for a lot of people.
Yeah, so the main thing is that it has a 24-megapixel sensor, a new one with backside illumination. So if you compare that to the A7R III, where it has 42 and really speaks to people shooting product or who really need detail in their shots, and then you have the A9, which has the backside illuminated and stacked, so you can get the 20 frames per second. The A7 III gives you a 10 frames per second, nice, just enough, probably too much for most things, but the 24 megapixels is great. You don't really need more than that. And all the other features like the new battery, a joystick on the back for better operation, and just a slightly redesigned body make it a very nice package.
Neat. What about you said there's a new battery. Is it longer life? Because that's always been an issue for Sony.
So it uses the battery which just showed up on the A9 and was also on the A7R III. And so the Z series battery with the A7 III is rated to give you over 700 shots on a single charge.
Okay, now we're talking. So I guess they're not giving you 2 batteries when you buy a camera anymore.
Not anymore, it seems.
And you said that this is the price has gone down a bit, or it's just a nicer price, or is the price
compared to the A7R III and the A9? It's at a lower price point. Mm-hmm. So the price point, it comes in at $2,000 body only.
Okay.
So compared to the A7R III, which is $3,300, and the A9 at $4,500, it's a much better price.
Yeah. That's pretty consistent with the way the A7 has been all along, the original 7 and 7 II. It's been kind of in that price range. And it really is the best. If you don't need ridiculous resolution, or if you're not shooting real low-light video, it's a perfect camera. It really, really is.
Yeah, it's the best camera for most people, which is exactly where it wants to be.
Yeah, no, it's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And now you mentioned the flash that they came out with.
Yeah, basically they took their flagship flash, made it a little nicer, a couple tweaks, and put radio in it.
Okay. All right, sounds good. What about that Canon flash then?
That's the Speedlight 470EX-AI.
Yeah, the cool thing about it, it's really cool to see in person. So the AI stands for Auto Intelligent, and it refers to Auto Intelligent Bounce Technology, AI Bounce for short. Mm-hmm. And so all you have to do is you walk into a room, you register it once, it uses sensors, figures out the height of the ceilings, does a couple flashes, And then for the rest of the night, you just walk around and it'll automatically rotate, turn around, tilt, everything you need to get just perfect bounce lighting.
And how fast does it do that rotation and that
I saw a
angling?
video. It's pretty responsive.
Oh, yeah?
It really is, yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty fast.
All right.
We're going to have a video on our post about it on Explorer. So we'll have something for people to actually look and see it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely fast enough.
But
And
not faster
the best-
than you could do it with your own hands. I mean, or is...
I don't know. Now I don't even have to take my hands off the camera, though. So
Okay.
Now, something I'm curious about, this flash runs on 4 AA batteries. Now, 4 AA batteries with an electronic flash, that burns out pretty fast. This is guide number about 154 at ISO 100. So you're already pulling a lot of juice. At the same time, it has little motors that are turning this thing all over. And how many
Battery life.
flashes do you actually get out of this thing after all is said and done? Anybody ask that question?
We actually asked this question.
Good.
So you add more motors, take away battery life. And so I think Canon made the right choice going with the guide number of 154 feet or 47 meters. So it's a smaller flash, so you're not pulling that much juice. You should get a little over 200 would be my guess about it. So you're not really going to see a huge hit from the motor, but probably in something that you might notice if you compare it directly to something like the 430.
I'd imagine also if you're moving around and it has to constantly refigure things, it's going to burn up juice a little bit quicker, as if rather than if you were standing in one spot. You know, and it kind of is already in that one location. Another thing, if it's bouncing all over the place and say you're shooting color, say you have color walls or ceilings, does it compensate at all? Or if you have a blue ceiling, are you getting blue bounce?
It won't track color. It doesn't do that. So you will have to be careful and still have some level of knowledge of Flash, but it does make it a lot easier for, say, people just starting to shoot or just starting to use Flash. That's kind of the target audience Canon's at.
Okay. All right. But I guess
anybody can pick up a Flash and use it now.
Right.
Right.
And just in case, carry a case of white spray paint with you, just to keep yourself
All
covered.
right, I kind of jumped us ahead
Only
to...
work in white rooms.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, also, Leica has a new flash, too, the SF60, and it's got a little flash controller, too, a wireless controller. I caught that. It also does shoots directly or bounce, and now does high-speed sync up to 1/8,000th of a second. I don't have much more detail on that, but that's a new Leica flash since we're on the topic of flashes.
Yeah, they announced that a while back, I believe, but I guess it's finally coming to market, which is nice because with the SL, people are probably using it more as a system camera compared to a tiny M where you didn't really want to throw a big flash on there.
Right.
All right, let's bounce back to cameras because I kind of jumped us into accessories, whatnot. So, tell us about the Fujifilm, the XH1.
Yeah, so the XH1, I really like to call it just a baby GFX. It's got the same type of body, smaller, because it's only the APS-C model, but it's got that nice screen on top, the nice tilting screen on the back. Viewfinder's really nice. It's got that extra little grip compared to the XT2 that makes it a little nicer to handle.
Okay. And is it fair to say that this is the X camera for video shooters, or is that something I'm just...
It is fair to say that, but I don't think Fuji wants you to say that too much because it is while it does have a lot of nice video upgrades, it also has the in-body stabilization, which works for both video and stills, and the body design kind of plays more to still photographers than video shooters.
But the specs really say video. I mean, you got slow motion 1080 at 120 and 100 frames a second, internal F-log capture, 24-bit audio. You don't need that for stills.
And there's the big DCI 4K at 24. There you go.
Yeah. So it's an anti-flicker shooting mode. Okay, if you're shooting under LEDs, okay, whatever. But still in all, it is, whether they admit it or not, it's a very pro-video camera, no two ways about it, and that's fine.
It's their best camera for video, 100%, no question about it.
You think
and with the new cine lenses in the X mount, there's just a match made in heaven right there for video shooters.
You think wedding photographers will be picking up on this one? Because they're introducing it here, and it seems to be the kind of thing that if you are shooting weddings and you have to go back and forth between still and video, this is a nice option.
My guess is it's going to be great for people upgrading their Fuji cameras, or if you have an X-T2 already, maybe you pick up the XH1 as your second body to become your primary body. But if you already own an X-T2, unless you absolutely need that in-body stabilization or 4K video, you're probably not going to upgrade right now.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
What could you tell us about the Canon M50? That's looks like an interesting little camera. You have a chance to play with that one?
Yeah, it's a nice little camera. The viewfinder's nice having it on the body directly compared to the M5 or M6. The M5 does have one, and it's a little smaller than the M5. So it's definitely a nice mirrorless camera.
Okay.
I'm just hoping that this is like just a warm-up act for a full-frame camera, and I'm sure it's on the back of a lot of minds when people look at this, what they can do, because they have to.
I think the most important feature here is the Digigate processor in the 4K video. Because even though the M50 is a nice entry mid-level type camera, when you see those things migrate to higher level cameras, you're going to see a lot more features get unlocked.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Canon also came out with the EOS Rebel T7. Hang on, kids. It went up to 24 megapixel from 18, and I think it's pretty much the same camera. It's a minor upgrade. They just gave you more pixels, higher resolving power.
Pretty much. That's their super entry level. Not much more to say about it.
No, and you know what? We're kind of saying not much more to say. It really is a lot of camera for a few $100s. You know, it's easy to look down, but the truth of the matter is, for many people, this is a killer little camera to have. If you want to have something APS-C, that's again a DSLR. It's a great choice.
And what about the Pentax K1 Mark II, which looks to me like it may have the highest ISO of any camera ever, or is that just my imagination?
Well, the D5 probably does.
Oh,
yeah, the D5 is
a million.
Okay, all right.
But that's a little absurd.
Right.
Well, even 204,800. I've shot with the original K1. It was ridiculous. It was a great camera, but it's incredibly sensitive. Now it's going up to 819,200 ISO, which means that the old version of it, the original K1, you could shoot in pitch blackness. Now you could shoot in pitch blackness. I think that's about the only difference there is. Also, if you have a K1 for $550, you could upgrade it to a K1 M2. So
yeah, the nice thing about that upgrade is that they actually replace the circuit board and give you those other features as well. So it's not just something like a firmware update like we've seen before.
So they're actually rebuilding your camera. They're redoing it.
Oh, so they're not giving you a new Mark II as a trade-in. They've got their old one and they upgraded the original camera. Okay.
And you do get the new logo, so you do get the Mark II on it.
So it comes with that little package of stickers. You can put them on yourself. Okay.
That's funny. Okay. Now I see Panasonic has a couple of point-and-shoots. We already talked about the GH5S. That came out at CES.
They have the GX9.
The GX9 and the DC ZS200. Have you had a chance to see those?
Yeah, the ZS200, it's a really nice upgrade. It's a nice pocketable, similar to an RX100 if you've seen it. It's got 4K, all the features you'd expect from Panasonic. If you want something pocketable, that's great. This has that 1-inch sensor that's going to give you everything you want.
Okay. Sounds good. And the GX9?
GX9 is the upgrade of their rangefinder style cameras, but honestly, it seems like they brought the GX series a step back, and they're repositioning their flagship models as the GH5, GH5S, and G9. Okay. And now their other cameras are going to sit a little bit below it. But it's the nicest and most compact option.
Okay, what about lenses? What do you see?
There's a lot for lenses. We heard from Sigma, they're coming out with all their art lenses in E-mount.
Oh, really?
So,
wow.
Finally, a native mount for Sony shooters who've been using an adapter.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
That's
it's about time
deal.
they did that.
Yeah.
The nicest part is that you get full support for the autofocus system. So you're not going to be worried about if I put it on this camera, if it's going to work or not. You get everything.
Now, doesn't Sigma offer a mount change service? Does that include the E-mount, or that wouldn't work for that?
It will. It will eventually include, because these lenses are still the same as the DSLR lenses, just with a redesigned mount.
Gotcha.
So they're big. Yeah.
But
it's a pretty extensive. It's an extensive lineup. Again, these are all Art series lenses, so these are really good optics. You got a 14-1.8, a 20mm 1.4, 24-1.4, 35-1.4, 50-1.4, a 72.8 DG macro, 85-1.4, a 105-1.4, and a 135-1.8. That's a lot of really neat, fast glass. It really is.
Might want to, just for a second, just stop on the 70 macro and 105 1.4. So those are both new. And the 105 1.4, there isn't really much else to compare to it except for Nikon's.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't shoot Nikon, this is the first chance you've gotten to have that kind of lens.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. For that kind of speed.
So what other lenses have you had your hands on out there? I mean, I know that Zeiss has some Luxia lenses.
One
so we might as well
Luxia,
stick with the Sony line right now, because it seems like everybody wants to come out with new lenses for E-mount. The Zeiss Luxia, the 25 2.4, nice, super compact, stays right in line with all the other Luxias. Not really much else to ask for there. And the most interesting thing is Tamron is developing a 28 to 75 f2.8.
Yeah.
And after seeing it in person, it's a lot more compact than Sony's G Master 2470.
Really?
So you might see a lot of people picking that up instead of the bigger G Master.
That's cool. And
Nice.
and then there's a 70 to 210 f4 from Tamron. That's not for Sony, is it? That's a
No, that's
DSLR.
for Nikon. Yeah, so the 7210 is for Canon, Nikon DSLRs, and it's going to be your very compact option, and it comes in at a much lower price point than the 2.8 versions, making it a better option for beginners, amateurs, and just people who want a lens to carry around.
One of the nice things about that lens, I was looking at the specs, it focuses down to 37.4 inches, which is real close for a lens of that range, and it gives you, I think, 1 to 3 a 1 to 3 magnification ratio. So it's good for close-ups too. I mean, you could do some good portrait stuff without being right on top of your subject with that, which is kind of neat. I like that. And it's also apparently moisture-resistant construction, which seems to be becoming increasingly more popular, which means they're made better.
It's almost mandatory these days, unless you get something on the real budget end.
There's a lens baby called the Burnside. Have you seen that?
Yeah, the Burnside 35. I've actually been reviewing that for the past couple of weeks too.
Okay.
So it's a nice little lens. It's got that swirl effect, but it also has a second aperture, which lets you dial in a little bit of a vignette if you want that too.
Okay. Anything else in the lens department?
Well, Rokinon has an SP 50 millimeter f1.2 for Canon EF. It's a relatively inexpensive, like $1,000 for a high-speed normal lens. Got that.
That's cool. I see some Venus optics.
Yeah, they're doing it again. They have a 25 millimeter f2.8, a 5x macro. Did you see that one by any chance?
I haven't stopped by there yet.
Oh, go see it. It's made for Canon EF, Nikon F, Pentax, and Sony FE mounts. The big deal is that you could focus between 40 and 45 millimeters and get 2.5 to 5 times magnification with a slightly wide-angle lens at 25-2.8, full frame. So that has some interesting possibilities. And for APS,
they're great for weird lenses.
Yes, they are.
Definitely great for that.
Yes, they also came out with them. This is for APS-C cameras, and if you're a wide-angle nut, they have a 9 millimeter f2.8. It's called their 0D lens for zero distortion. It's got a 113 degree angle of view, 10 groups with 15 elements. It's a real serious lens, and it focuses down to about 5 inches, and that's for Fujifilm X, Canon EF-M, and Sony E mounts. And that should be fun to play with. And again, it's the widest angle of view for APS-C. So that's an interesting lens right there. And it's probably priced very well.
Yeah, the great thing about their lenses and the ones they come out with are that there's definitely one photographer out there who's been waiting for that exact lens.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Someone's got to fill in the cracks. I see a Leica here. Alan, you want to mention that?
Yes. Let me turn the page here.
Okay.
The Leica, an Apo Summicron 50 millimeter f2 LHSA 50th anniversary lens. That's the Leica Historical Society something or other. They come out with all these great lenses every once in a while that few of us could afford. This particular lens, I saw pictures of it. It's really beautiful. They're only making 500 of them, 300 of them in black paint and 200 of them in silver, and I think they're sold out. And they're not inexpensive. They were like $1,000, something back.
Nothing Leica makes is inexpensive. So
yes, you gotta love them, man. And you know what? There are people that love this stuff, and it's great.
Anything else, Shawn? Lens-wise, I think we covered most of them, but you're out there. You're seeing what's new.
They're not actually at the show, but I know that Tokina just revealed a new Fearing.
Yes.
The 20 millimeter f2, but this time with autofocus.
Now, I saw some reports saying that
it's
it's
an FE mount, right?
Yeah, it's specifically FE mount. Now, I did a test on the manual focus one. It was a really nice lens. I got some great pictures out of it. What I'm not sure of, and I saw two reports. One report said that this is replacing the manual focus, and another report said this is in addition to the manual focus version of it. So they might have two. I don't know.
Definitely in addition.
Oh, okay.
Definitely in addition. They both have two different features. So the manual focus has the gears and stuff that make it better for cine users, and manual focus is definitely better for cine users. Then the autofocus version has a different shaped body that's more in line with what you might see for still photo cameras.
Okay, but optically, I believe it's the same formula. They just basically added autofocus to it.
Same exact formula, yep.
Okay, anything else?
There is a Panasonic Leica DG Vario Elmarit 50-200, a 2.8 to f4 spheric lens for micro four thirds. That's 100 to 400 millimeter 35 equivalent. That looks like an interesting lens. I did not see any pictures of it. I just have some specs here, but it looks like it's right up there.
Interesting lens.
Did you? Oh, you had a chance to see it. Okay.
Yeah, it's the really nice thing compared to other 100 400s that we've seen for full frame is that this has a much faster aperture, which plays a lot more nicely with the micro four thirds format.
That's right. It's a stop faster. That's right. It's a variable aperture, but you're starting off at a wider aperture. That's correct. Yeah. Yep.
So there was one last thing I'd like to mention. It's the Kodak bringing back the T-Max P3200.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's on our list. And
it's nice to see some new old films every once in a while.
Now,
I'm curious to try that stuff. I really am.
Is there when you're standing around the Kodak table? Is there a buzz? There are a lot of people there taking note, or just a handful of diehard film users?
There's a lot of interest around Kodak all the time, but for this specific thing, just the diehard film users who probably had fridges full of it still.
We're gonna talk to Liz in a second, but what about like if you can kind of sum up what's going on out there and what the feel is? What are most people talking about, or is it feel like an exciting show, or just maybe not as interesting in past shows? What do you think?
Well, the last show I was at CES, and this is much smaller.
Yeah.
It's a lot nicer because of that, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more just camera users looking to get their hands on equipment that they haven't been able to yet. So we're seeing a lot of people going over to Fuji and trying out the GFX and XH1. Sony obviously has a lot going on all the time. So people are over there looking at the A7R III and A9 and various lenses. And we also, B&H is sponsoring a booth where you can use a lot of equipment and lighting stuff. It's a lot more education-based here.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly wedding photographers, correct? I mean, obviously portrait as well, but...
Yeah, wedding and portrait, and that also ties a lot more into lighting. So you see a lot of booths focused on, how to shoot with models, people talking, giving classes.
Gotcha. And with all the wedding photographers out there, is there a sense that many are now looking to or have already moved over to Sony and maybe to a lesser extent Fuji and mirrorless cameras, or...
That's an interesting question. I haven't really been paying attention because I think it's just the new normal. You can just shoot with anything nowadays.
Yeah.
So you see people walking around with the Fuji, you see people walking around with the 5D Mark IV, and everything else.
And a lot of older, tired people dragging around Hasselblad 500Cs. You still got them around, or are they gone?
No, you're the only one.
No, they're gone. They're replaced with the new Hasselblad X.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, really? Yeah, anything, any medium format action out there? What are you seeing?
Well, there's a lot now that Hasselblad and Fuji have relatively affordable options.
Right.
Because there's a lot of buzz at the GFX, obviously, because it comes in at a really good price for medium format. And then Hasselblad's showing off their mirrorless, of course.
Right.
Which is even smaller than the GFX, and it's pretty incredible for what it is.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, then. All right, well, anything else you want to add?
I have a couple of things here that I spotted. Pro-grade digital memory cards. That's the former Lexar Management tech execs. They started their new company because Lexar was bought up by Longsys, I think, a Chinese company. and they're coming out with a whole bunch of new cards, CF Fast 2 and SDXC-UHS2 memory cards. And they're supposed to be top quality. That's their game. They weren't ready to leave the market yet, so they started pro-grade digital, and I think we're going to be carrying those pretty soon. They're available in 128, 256, and 512 gigabytes. That's for CF Fast 2. Transfer speeds up to 550 megabytes a second. And the SD cards come in 64, 128, and 256 gigabyte, and speeds of up to 200 megabytes a second. And what about the Spider camera holster? You catch those yet?
I haven't made it over there, but they definitely have a nice little lineup, especially if you're tired of dealing with straps.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Shawn. I appreciate it. Unless there's anything else, we're going to jump over to Liz and talk to her for a minute. All right?
And remember, behave yourself.
Yeah, I'm just working all the time. Got to get back on the floor. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed you've been putting out a lot of work. Good for you.
All right, nice talking to you guys.
You too.
Take care.
So, were you really up at 4:47 this morning? We're off the air.
We hope you're enjoying this edition of the B&H Photography Podcast. Send us a tweet at BHPhotoVideo, hashtag BHPhotoPodcast.
Okay, we spoke with Shawn Steiner, and now we're going to speak with Liz Groeschen, our other correspondent on the WPPI floor. Hey there, Liz. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, my fellow B&Hers.
There we go. Anyway, so you're at WPPI, and you've been walking around and taking in stuff. First of all, what are your impressions? Did you hear about the new Sony camera?
I have heard about it, and everybody is very excited, and they're buzzing about it, I have to say.
Buzzing, eh? All right.
Yes.
You sure that's the camera?
Buzzing.
All right.
Like little bees.
What else did you see about there that caught your eye? Accessories or cameras? We talked lenses to death, but what kind of things caught your eyes there?
So I would say that the Canon came out with a new flash, the 470 EX AI, I believe.
Yep, that's correct.
Is the full name. And it is probably the most popular accessory or lighting, whichever one category you would like to lump it into. It's been really popular, and I think people are really excited about it because it takes a lot of guesswork out of flashes and adding lighting, especially to already ambient lighting that you're doing a lot at weddings.
And are all the wedding pros out there that are so used to shooting with flash, are they poo-pooing it, or are they really embracing it so far from your...
From what I can tell, I think that they're embracing it because, you know, wedding photography is a stressful industry, and to have something that will kind of analyze a situation for you and then do all of the work when your light is changing, you're probably juggling guests or bridal party or just the bride and groom, their movements. They're getting an assistant.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it.
That's pretty cool.
There's also something kind of R2-D2 about that little flash where it moves around and swirls its head and everything else. I saw some video on it. And I was kind of curious to know how much I think would be burning up batteries. And we talked a little bit about that too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't seen it in action as much as I would like to, but I think that whenever you can incorporate a little R2-D2 into your life, you should.
Cool. All right. Anything else? What else you see?
So
I think I just came up with a new bumper sticker. I like that.
The new Fuji camera it's not exactly new, but the XH1, it's trending, I think, here, as well as the Pentax K1 Mark II. I will say that Fuji probably has the biggest footprint here at the show, as far as the booth setup. So I think that maybe people are gravitating a little bit towards Fuji. But those cameras are I would say that they're trending, even though they're not new at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, just as a PS, the Canon Speedlight 470 EX AI is coming soon for $399.
Okay.
So that's fair. That's
a fair
price.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that works.
Okay, then.
So in terms of other smaller items, I am really big into paper. So that was catching my eye. I will say that I lingered a lot at the Vision Art fine art books. So they're a different company. I don't know if they really fall under the B&H umbrella, but I really liked their books and their paper products.
Okay.
As well as WHCC cards and frames.
All right.
So it's just putting a little bit more work into probably that end product. There's definitely a lot of props and styling.
Oh, really?
And
all the wedding stuff.
Yeah. There's some princess outfits that are happening and baby things. There was, when I walked by the Canon booth actually to come outside of the convention and talk to you guys, there was an entire setup of a baby being photographed live at the Canon show.
Geez.
So I think, I'm not sure how I feel about the baby being photographed live, but a lot of people were very interested in it. It was very popular.
And the books that you spoke about, the fine art books, is the idea then for wedding photographers to be able to create a book of the day and then sell it to their clients?
Yes, absolutely. So then they're getting their images organized and ready to go and picking out the paper. I've seen quite a few different booths set up for this, but I was most impressed with the vision art because there was so much selection. You could choose what kind of paper it was being printed on, as well as the cover, like the thickness of everything, how many pages.
Yeah, no, there are a lot more choices for albums these days than there were, say, 10, 20 years ago when they're all these stodgy old, I don't know, padded covered books with vinyl covers on them and big fat pages. They're a lot more aesthetically pleasing, artistically. They're a lot nicer. I know back in the day, there used to be like 3 styles of wedding albums, and I think the difference is with the color. It was black, brown, or beige. Now you can get everything. There's different kind of covers, different formats. The paper surfaces, like you mentioned, this is a paper company. A lot of them have beautiful textures that you can get into. So the options are big.
And you're creating books as opposed to albums. You know,
and it's also a nice thing for marketing because shooting the wedding is one thing. You make more money, you sell them a nice album too. That's where your bucks come from.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely see a trend going in these wedding albums. They are more like fine art books across the board.
Yeah.
It's much more polished and professional. And I think that everybody is just kind of gravitating towards that instead of kind of erring on just kind of a memento that's going to be tucked into a drawer somewhere.
Now, you actually want to pick them up. The other ones, it's like you just want to put a drink down on top of it.
Right.
So you don't scratch the table.
Oh, large coasters. Nice. Okay. All right. Anything else, Liz? Off the top of your head, or?
Off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of my favorites.
Go for it. Yeah.
Magmod has a setup. I'm always a big fan of their flash modifiers and accessories. And I think that's really it. I'm not seeing so many tripods. And I've had some participants, or some attendees, I should say, come up looking for some specific tripods and monopods, and I'm just not seeing that. So I'm not sure if that is something that...
Here's something you want to look. Go to the Tiffin booth. They have a Steadicam Airline. It's a monopod. It's a foot-operated gas lift monopod. Rather than twisting locks to make it higher and lower, it's got a foot pedal, and it's got compressed gas in it, and you could raise it and lower it just by stepping on the pedal and pulling up and down. And it comes with 25-pound and 15-pound pressures for stills and video, and it collapses down to 28 inches and extends to 62.5 inches. That's an interesting item.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Cool.
I'll definitely have to swing by.
Yeah, Steadicam Airline. Apparently it's the first of several that they're going to be making.
Okay.
And in your kind of your viewpoint of the show, what's the hype? Is it that Sony camera, or is
Absolutely.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's definitely the Sony camera. I would say that the show started off with that being probably the worst kept secret.
Yeah.
Again, maybe we shouldn't tell Sony, but it seems that even before the announcement was made, people were talking. That's definitely that, and the Canon, the Flash.
The Flash. Okay.
I would say those two are being the most talked about.
Good to know. Good to know. And what, if you can sum it up, what's going on with the B&H crew out there? How's everybody behaving?
Are they behaving themselves?
What are you doing? What's the kind of hour to hour?
I really would love to spill the beans on what B&H is up to.
Liz,
it's
just us, Liz. Don't worry about it. You can talk. It's just us.
I mean, okay,
no
but
one else
they
will notice.
say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and I feel like that might be true to B&H.
It better be. Cool.
We are, however, considering. So I'm working primarily in the studio bays that we have set up. So we have 5 different studio bays set up with 5 different lighting manufacturers, and we're thinking of kind of rearranging and flipping that around so the entire show can see what people are photographing, see the models in action, look at all of the different lighting setups at one glance.
B&H has a really big booth then? A lot of people out there?
Absolutely. We have, I want to say, about 40 people.
Wow.
At least. We have 3 different footprints. One bigger, the area that I just mentioned is probably the biggest because, again, we have these 5 different studio bays with every camera manufacturer, even Leica. I think we have a few items from them, and the medium format Fuji, which is always a big hit and a personal favorite of mine, and the Hasselblad X1D, which is always really exciting for customers and attendees who haven't had the chance to get their hands on it. And then we have the 2 other setups with lots of B&H smiling faces here to help with any questions and
now I know
get some orders.
Well, it does sound like we're doing more than just walking around handing out catalogs. By the way, you mentioned the Hasselblad, the newest Hasselblad medium format. Every time I look at that camera, I have to just stop and admire it for what it's a piece of artwork. It really is sculptural art that takes phenomenal pictures. It's a gorgeous tool. It really, really is.
It really is.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Liz, thank you so much for filling us in. Remember, behave yourself for the rest of the time you're out there. Have a safe trip back.
Thank you. I will. Okay.
And thank you for filling us in on all the details.
You are most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Take care.
Okay, Liz. Thanks a lot.
You too. Bye-bye.
We'll
Bye.
talk to you soon. Bye.
Well, there you have it, the latest from WPPI and a review of CES, all the new toys that will be coming out in the coming weeks and months. Always something to look forward to. And just I'll remind you one more time, if you enjoyed our interview last episode with Chris Buck, we have a signed copy of his amazing book, Uneasy. And all you have to do to win a copy is to go over to the B&H Photo Video Facebook page and leave a comment about the post on our show. You have until midnight on Friday, March 2nd, 2 days from now, and the winner will be announced on an upcoming show. So there you have it. As always, on behalf of Jason Tables, John Harris, and myself, thank you so much for tuning in today.